Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video we'll be looking into the injection vulnerability, how we can exploit a web application, and what are the different methods through which we can prevent such attacks. So let's look into that. So as we can see these are some of the parameters through which injection has secured the third position in OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. Initially it was in the top 1, but it has been downgraded to top 3 because of these parameters. So before going to the next slide, let's check how actually this vulnerability works. So let's say we have a web application, okay, in which we have username and the password or email or password, whatever it is. So this is a web app that we have, okay, and let's say we have database as well. So whenever you type let's say you use let's say Ravi, and the password is admin. So whenever you use such query, it will obviously check the database, and there will be multiple tables in those databases, and let's say there is a table called users. Okay, in that users we have username as well as password. So there is let's say Teja123 is password, Ravi, let's say if Ravi's password is not admin, but let's say it's admin123, so this will raise an failure, so he will be not able to log in, right? Whereas if he types Ravi123, it will be success and he will be able to log in to his web app. Let's say, like, instead of this password, I will be using some SQL queries or injection methods through which I'll be making database believe that I am the right person. So here we'll be using some SQL queries where for instance, let's say we can use or 1 equal to 1. So these are some of the commands through which we can log in directly, right? So usually whenever you use these commands, it will be in this phase, right? Select star from this particular table, and we'll be checking this username equal to Ravi and password equal to admin123. So if this statement is true, then I'll be able to log in. If that is false, then I'll be not able to log in, right? It will be a failure. So here, like, it will be like, right, password equal to, it will be admin123. But what we'll do is, instead of admin123, we'll be making query such that we'll be closing this phrase and we'll be making these statements. So this statement is nothing but, you can see here, right, 1 equal to 1, so which is always true, right? So using these parameters, we can overcome this web application security. So using this, we can directly enter into this web app, right? So this is the vulnerability that we'll be checking in the next video, where we'll be doing the practicals, where we'll be doing command injections, where we'll be using different commands, right? And we'll be trying to get the locations and so on. Like, we'll be discussing that in the next video. So let's go into the PPT. Back to the PPT. So injection flaws are very common in these applications today. These flaws occur because of user controlled input is interpreted as actual commands or parameters by the application. So as we can see in the previous just before we have discussed, we'll be using few commands through which we can overcome their security, right? So whenever you use that command, it is taking that command, but it should take that as a string, right? So this means that whenever we use some command in those text fields, it is taken as a command instead of a string, which is one of the main cause of this vulnerability. So these are some of the observations when an application is vulnerable to an attack. So for instance, you can see the first one, which is user supply data is not validated or sanitized, due to which it can be vulnerable, and similarly the 3. So these are taken from the OWASP website. Injection attacks depends on what technologies are being used and how exactly the input is interpreted by these technologies. Some of the examples are SQL injection as well as command injection. So as we can see, SQL injection, this occurs when user control input is passed to SQL queries. As a result, an attacker can pass in SQL queries to manipulate the outcome of such queries. Coming to command injection, this occurs when user input is passed to a system commands. As a result, an attacker is able to execute arbitrary system commands on these application servers. Commands like who am I, ls, and so on. We'll be looking into more depth about command injection in the next practical video. So if an attacker has successfully passed input that is interpreted correctly, then it would be able to access, modify, and delete the information, as well as use the arbitrary external codes or external commands. So these are some of the prevention methods through which we can defend our applications. So the main defense for preventing injection attacks is ensuring that the user controlled input is not interpreted as queries or commands. There are different ways through which we can use it. Some of them are using an allow list or stripping an input. So these methods can be used in order to overcome this vulnerability. And you can see the other prevention methods, which is from OWASP top 10, as well as we have took the reference of TryHackMe. So these are some of the reference through which we have made this PPT. So this is the end of the video, and even just wanted to say before ending the video, so whenever you send this message, there will be different methods, right? One is get, other one is post. So these different methods, for example, let's say for get, whenever you use username and password, in the URL you can see your username and password, and you can use this. So it will be like let's say this everything is URL and username equal to Ravi, and password, let's create a new one. Okay, don't save. So there will be a get and post, right? So coming to the get, you will be having the URL. So let's say it's XYZ and user equal to Ravi, and password equal to admin, right? So here we'll be removing Ravi and we'll be using the code, for example, we have discussed before, where we can use a command like this one, and this is nothing but ending the sentence, the double quotes, which is nothing but ending the sentence. So yeah, so using such commands we can overcome this. Whereas coming to the post, we'll be using it in the input itself. We'll be implementing those vulnerable commands in those inputs. So I hope you guys have understood the concept of today's video about injection vulnerability. If you have liked the video, please click the like button below, and if not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel, and I'll be keeping the relevant videos in the description for you to watch. Thanks everyone.